To Kenyan news now, where Kenya bounced back from their opening loss of their World Cricket League Championship encounters with Netherlands on Friday with a tense 2-wicket win on Sunday. With the win, which came after some impressive all-round show with both bat and ball, Kenya revived their chances of qualifying for next year's ICC World Cup qualifiers. Kenya climbed up to 4th place behind leaders Netherlands, Papua New Guinea and Scotland. Spinner Shem Obado claimed 4 wickets to restrict the leaders to 224 for 9 after Kenya had won the toss and at the Buffalo Park, East London in South Africa. Kenya national football team Harambee Stars suffered their second away friendly defeat in less than 3 days after losing by a solitary goal to host Thailand yesterday. Dangda Tersil scored in the 63rd minute to secure victory for Thailand, who are ranked 49 places below Kenya. The defeat came barely 3 days after Stanley Okumbi's men were stunned 2-1 by another low-ranked Asian nation, Iraq, at Basra Stadium. To autocross news now, where Ryan Bailey and Gillian Bailey were crowned champions of KCB Autocross 8 Championship yesterday with 1 round remaining in the calendar. Gillian Bailey clocked 5 minutes and 49.31 seconds to win ahead of Hamza Anwar, who finished 4 seconds behind Gillian after posting the fastest heat 3 results at Jamhuri Park. In the 4-wheel drive turbo, Ryan Shah was a happy man after winning in 5 minutes, 32 seconds, while Alfred Khan stunned the crowd with great driving skills to finish second ahead of Asad Anwar, whose car lost power during hit 1. Anwar's son, making his debut, finished 4th in the 4-wheel drive category. Here is part of the action at Jamhuri Park yesterday. Well, in studio, we have 2 championship winners from yesterday. I'm talking about at my extreme left, that is Gillian Bailey. Karibu sana, the champion and two-wheel
drive, non-turbo adult, yeah.
Yeah, and sitting next to her is none other than her son, that is Ryan Bailey. Karibu sana.
Hi.
Yeah, guys, you must be over the moon that mother and son won their respective championship yesterday. How was it?
I think it's we've still got 1 event to go before the end of the season. Yeah. And we've had a lot of trouble in the last 2 weeks, especially with my buggy. I didn't even think that we'd make it to race yesterday. So to make it there and to win to win a double championship with my son is just, I'm speechless, to be honest with you. I still can't believe it happened. Yeah?
Incredible. Being there, being declared the winner with 1 round to go, and mom is there, a winner, and now the son, Ryan. How did it feel like?
Yeah, it was a great feeling. I think that if I had just won by myself, it would be special, but to win it alongside my mom was a good achievement for me, and it was just a great feeling yesterday.
Yeah, we've seen in the sporting world that you always have sporting families, guys coming in there and then winning titles. But then in Kenya, mother and son, that is a first. And you must be very proud, to stand there with your son being declared the winners.
No, absolutely. I mean, Ryan's been racing. He's been in motorsport since he was 4 years old. So to have been watching him at the side of the track, and then for the last 2 years to be competing. Last year was go-karting, and then this year autocross. And it's fantastic because you have the stress of working and then homework and then to go out and do what we both really enjoy doing at the weekend is fantastic.
Must be exciting. For most moms, mothers will always want their kids to be very safe. Motorsport is not such a okay, it's a safe sport if you follow all the rules, but then accidents do happen.
Yeah.
But as a mother, watching your son, follow in your footsteps, you must be, I don't know,
I think because I've been involved in it so much, and we, both Paul and myself, we take the highest specs of making sure that his safety is ultimate, whether it's his suit, whether it's his helmet, whether it's the roll cage in his buggy, whether it's his seat belts. I do understand the dangers of motorsport. I had a very bad accident 13 years ago. And,
oh, sorry.
And broke my back, so I do understand it. But, you know, Ryan's very talented and we've got a huge amount of confidence. And yes, accidents can happen, but, you know, as long as you've taken as many safety measures as you can, then you've just got to let them go out and get on with it.
She's just mentioned someone called Paul Bailey. He's one of the, you know, top drivers this country has ever produced. And, of course, if he's watching this show, I'm very sure that he's proud, you know, to see mom and son, you know, talk about the sport. And how does it feel like, Ryan, you know, having your parents, you know, watching over you, telling you this, how to put on the helmet and, you know, let's go?
Well, to be honest, that a couple of years ago when I did start racing, it was definitely that they weren't 100% sure on the safety, and also like I could tell that they were both very worried about, because a lot of kids that will go into racing won't think about the safety aspect, because they're not thinking about the future, they're just thinking about go as quick as you can and get the quickest time that you can. But I think that as the years have gone over, I've realized that yes, you do need to try go as quick as you can, but there's also a limit to how fast you can go, and without overdoing it. Like, you can come down to the last heat realizing that you need a second to be your opponent, and you can go everything towards it, and then a bad accident will happen like that. So I think that yes, in the beginning I was racing like that, but towards the end I've realized that you just need to think about what you're doing.
Sure. I'll come back to him, especially on the pressures involved in, you know, following in the footsteps of dad and mom. But he's got that advantage that you've started racing a long time ago. Dad, you was also doing the same thing. But you, as Gillian, how did you just get into this sport, and what was the motivation behind all that?
Whew, gosh, I've been in motorsport for a long time now. I actually started 25 years ago, servicing. 25 years ago, servicing for Glenn Edmonds, because I'm actually a mechanic by trade. When I left school, I served my apprenticeship as a mechanic. So I used to service Glenn Edmonds 25 years ago, and then you know, I'm somebody who likes action. I've always loved speed. I love action. So I said to Glenn, come on, you know, when we go testing, I want to be able to teach me how to read the notes. So he did, and then I started navigating 24 years ago, and navigated for Glenn on sort of 2 different championships times apart, and also Patrick and Giroux.
Wow, that's big names, you know.
Yeah, Kimathi Mwangi. So, and you know, they taught me so much about motorsport. And then I was pregnant with Ryan, so I gave up rallying. He was actually in the beginning in there when I did my last rally before I actually stopped racing.
That was which year? Which rally?
Well, he's 16 this year. He was born in 2001, so it was actually in 2000, early 2001. So I then gave up, and then 2.5 years later, so when Ryan was 2.5, I went back to do one more event with Glenn in Kisumu to navigate, because his normal navigator, Des Page Morris, was overseas. And we had a huge accident in the sugar plantation.
Yeah, actually, I read about that, and that must have been a very nasty experience for you.
Yeah, no, it was, and I've suffered for many years with my back from that day. And it's amazing that, you know, actually racing today, everybody says to you, must be crazy after breaking your back and having so many problems.
And then you come back into the sport,
Yeah, but I think the adrenaline, and I don't know, I don't know what to put it down to, but my back's never been better than what it has been this year. And it's quite a vigorous sport. It's not like the go-karting, you know, on the track.
If you watch, you watch those images there, and you look at, you know, that kind of action, you know, and I really worry about your physical, you know, fitness now. You think you are physically okay to take up this sport?
Well, I've managed so far this year. I mean, I did the karting championship last year, and the off-road championship, the autocross this year, and I've never felt younger and livelier in my life before, so I don't know what to say.
It's a big challenge to Ryan. Ryan, you know, watching mom, watching dad, you know, do all that kind of stuff, and everyone expects now Ryan to match the parents and even be better than them. How much of pressure does it put on you?
Well, to be honest, I don't think about that aspect so much, but I think that now that my mom started racing, it's not really a pressure thing, it's more like a motivation thing that like we're like trying to put each other up. So if she can win her class, I also want to win my class, so that we're sort of motivating and making the name
very
sound
competitive. I think
sound
that's the word we should use. Very competitive.
Yeah.
And apart from maybe your parents, you could be having someone you look up to, you know, in this sport, be it in Formula One, is it in rally and all that.
Yeah.
Who could this person be other than your parents, maybe?
Probably Ian Duncan. I think the amount of racing and motorsport he's done in the country, he's done a tremendous amount, and he's still, I think he does the most events. He does autocross, he does rally raid, he does rallying, and to my knowledge, he's winning the rallying and he's winning the rally raid, and he won the autocross yesterday. So I think there's not much to do with motorsport that he can't do. So I think he's definitely one of my idols up there. And last race, actually at Jamhuri track, I was racing alongside him. He was on the other track, so I think when I found out that I was racing alongside him, I didn't feel pressured. I felt really motivated that they've looked at me and thought that I have enough talent to race against.
Your friends, your schoolmates at Hillcrest, I'm told you are there. How do they feel about that? They really get behind you?
Yeah, a couple of them, couple of my friends actually race as well. So I think they motivate me a lot. But I think also the people at the school, when they hear about achievements and stuff like that, they're very, very supportive.
I don't understand this because as a family, of course, you could be having your resources, you know, to buy all those buggies and all the equipment. But as a family, how do you finance this, Madam?
We've been very blessed. The equipment, so the buggies, we've actually financed ourselves, but we've been extremely blessed this year. We've had two fabulous sponsors on board. One local sponsor, which is Papyrus Africa Limited. They deal in quite a number of things, mainly weigh bridges and shop installations and also bakery stuff. They've been absolutely fabulous supporting us locally.
Like the speed in the Bailey family. They've decided to come in there and help you guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's amazing the support that we've had. And then also international sponsor, Axon Nobel, who is actually my supplier of automotive paints from the Netherlands.
Okay.
They've also come on board because they've seen, through business with me, they've seen Ryan come up from a 4-year-old to what he is today. And,
does he also have a sponsor? Or it's a package?
It's a joint sponsor. We've got, the package we've got as joint sponsors. But, you know, I think they mainly came on board because of Ryan's experience and his past history of winning. You know, and if I can just mention, you talked about the pressure of him sort of, you know, coming from a family of racers. Ryan's always been a very independent person in his own right. And, you know, he's achieved the most amazing things, from literally coming out of nappies and climbing on a motorbike at 4 years old,
Interesting,
And, you know, I think it's fabulous that he's achieved what he has and not been overshadowed by neither his father, who, yes, was a very successful rally driver, you know, and his mum. He's very independent in his own right, and, you know, hats off to him.
Have you set goals, Ryan? Where do you want to be, say, in the next 5 years or so?
To be honest, I've never really set goals to do with motorsport. I've always taken each race how it comes. Always look to do my best in the event. But now that I keep getting asked this question, I think that in the next couple of years, I am moving overseas to the UK. So I think that
for studies.
Yeah, for studies.
Okay.
So I think that it's likely that I'm going to race in the UK, and obviously if I do, then
I'll make sure you share with us your experiences from there. And then as some others, we wind up because we don't have much time, but you can tell me, how do you manage, you know, to keep him? You've said he's very independent, but of course he has got assignments for his classwork and all that. How do you manage as a mom to do your own training, practice and all that, and make sure that he does his homework?
You know, certainly the last year or so, because he's so independent, you know, and he's told me quite frankly, you know, Mother, I can organise my own life now. I don't need you interfering. Yes, we've had a few battles sort of, you know, prior to that, but, you know, he's old enough and mature enough now. He knows what he's got to do. He's motivated to also achieve at school. He's not somebody that only lives for sport, although sport's a very important part of his life. He does a lot of extra training, he does football, he does rugby. I mean, he's involved in all the teams at Hillcrest School. He's in year 11 at Hillcrest, so, you know, and he knows...
He loves soccer, he loves rugby, away from motorsport.
Yeah.
How do you manage that, Ryan?
Yeah, all of these sports do take up a lot of time, and yeah, they can be hard to manage at times, but I think I really like all of them, so I don't struggle to make time for the different sports.
Okay. I'm sure one of my colleagues, you know, would love, you know, to get into these buggies, and they could be listening to us and, you know, wondering how mom and dad can do all this. I'm sure you'll have some piece of advice for him when he comes in. But finally, you say that you've just taken up this sport after the accident so many years ago, 13 years ago. So, any goals? You want to go back at some point to rallying? Or?
To be honest with you, after doing rallying, go-karting and now autocross, for me autocross is the ultimate, because I love speed. And to do short, fast stints for me is fantastic. And you know, before I was always a navigator, I wasn't a driver. And now I'm a driver, and I've never enjoyed doing anything so much in my life. So I think for me, I'm sticking with autocross. You know, and I just want to keep improving personal best. Yesterday, even though I won the event, it wasn't so much that I won the event. For me, I drove the absolute best that I could do. And, you know, I just have to acknowledge the work that Paul does for both of us on our buggies. You know, from being a competitor to now working behind the scenes, you know, organising the team, working on the buggies, organising also, you know, we've got a full-time mechanic. 2 weeks ago I had an engine failure, and, you know, he's worked day and night the last 2 weeks to make sure my buggy got onto the track yesterday. So, you know, we have to acknowledge Paul and our mechanic Jaguar for all the hard work that they do. You know, they don't get the recognition, they're not in the forefront, but without them we wouldn't be able to do what we do,
We say at KTN Sports, we say kudos to Paul Bailey for the work that you're doing, you know, behind the scenes to ensure that these two adrenaline-loving people in your life do compete very well. And of course, we want to thank you, the Bailey family, because of your love for speed, and that will go a long way to, you know, inspiring so many other youngsters to take up the sport. And Mike, I don't know if he will want to take up this sport also and then shed off some of that, you know, use some of that adrenaline. Yeah, so I want to believe, Ryan, that your future is bright, and that you've got all it takes, you know, to succeed, and that KTN will always follow you to make sure that we document your success all through. Mike?
Yes.
A young guy.
First of all, very encouraging and congratulations. I think they say that a family that plays together stays together. So it's good that you have similar interests. And well, question from me is it too late for some of us to, you know, get into motocrossing and this kind of racing?
Never.
And getting the adrenaline?
Never.
It's never too late?
Never too late. You know, they declared me last year the oldest woman in motorsport.
Oh, wow. But at least you started 25 years ago.
Yeah,
so
I did. I had some experience in it, but even still, I mean, after being out of it for, you know, such a long time, and then to come back on a competitive level and as a driver as well, I honestly, I think it's possible for anybody. You know, you can do anything that you want in life, whether it's motorsport or whatever it is.
Okay.
I think you've just got to have the will to do it.
The will to do that. So Robin Toskin, soon I might be sitting on this end.
Yeah, sure.
Having one, so you never know.
We'll start by buying a helmet, maybe for
I'll take him up as my mentor first for starters, and maybe we take it from there.
Yeah, no, he's great. The advice and the support that Ryan's given me, I mean, you know, normally in life, it's parents telling kids what they should do, but you know, in the motorsport, It's great. You know, Ryan
well.
says to me, you know, you should do this, Mum, you shouldn't do that. And, you know, he's very supportive and helpful. So, you know, and I think it's a great learning curve also, you know, for your kids to have that opportunity.
Absolutely.
You know, to have the shoe on the other foot, yeah?
All right. Thanks,
Yeah.
Ryan, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Make sure that you keep your eye on the ball, the prize. I'm sure you'll do, you know, much better than this.
And the finishing flag, huh?
Thank you. Thank you.
And thanks you,
Mom.
Mom,
Thanks
you know,
so much.
for bringing up a young boy like this one to take up sport. And that's a big challenge.
Absolutely. And congratulations.
Thank you.
But that's where we'll have